Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and today we have Scott Kingsbury. What?
Pleasure.
Welcome. So,
King of the berries.
Yeah, King of the berries.
Perfect. King of the berries, and don't you forget that.
Yeah, exactly. So what have you been doing lately and stuff in the world of reflexology?
What I've been doing, Ryan, is I've been focusing mostly on improving my skill level over the last year. I've been working on specific principles such as the analgesic effect.
Oh.
Can I present a technique that will turn off anything from respiratory challenges to low back pain to shoulder pain to headaches to sinus problems? Can I do that in 5 to 20 minutes? And that's what I've been practicing over the last year. I've been working a lot on applying zone therapy principles to the fingers, such as we can apply pressure to the distal joint of each finger, and we can turn off things such as knee pain, foot pain, on the big toe or in the ankle, anywhere in the body really, but especially in the lower extremities. We can turn off pain in the hips just by applying pressure to the distal joints of the fingers. Quite fascinating.
Wow.
So we've been working on areas of refinement to perfect our techniques so we can make a transition, less time, period of treatment, as well as a greater outcome. That's what I've been focused on in the last year. And if I might share a couple of interesting case studies to help bring some light to that evidence. We were down in the Fort Myers chapter for the FSMTA, and we had a lady who had a particular challenge. She had a bunionectomy, and she had post-surgery, she had had pain for some 4 years, and she still had pain that day. And so we had 70 people in that particular chapter that day. We brought that lady up to the front of the room, and I said, we're going to do two things today. We're going to apply pressure to two fingers, the thumb and the pinky finger. So I applied pressure to her thumb to treat the distal joint and the joint space on her big toe, which was very painful from her bunionectomy. I pressed on her thumb for basically about 8 minutes. Great pressure for 8 minutes. It was a little uncomfortable for her, but within that 8 minutes, her great toe pain was completely gone. Oh. So she said she still had a little pain on her lateral ankle, and so what I did then was I grabbed her pinky finger, both top and bottom, medial and lateral, and the medial and lateral portion of that pinky finger were the most tender, so I held that pinky finger for a sum total of another 5 minutes. So a total of about 12 to 13 minutes, her lateral ankle pain and her big toe pain was completely gone post-surgically. So she'd had this pain for 4 years, and this was the first time she didn't have pain in her toe and her ankle in 4 years. In 13 minutes of zone analgesic pressure on the distal joints. So that was a very, very unique outcome. And she actually had a little bit of an emotional breakdown following that because of the relief that she received, and it was just so, it blew her mind so much.
Yeah, it's a shock. I mean, you live with the pain for so long and stuff, and you just think you have to live with it the rest of your life and stuff.
We see that so many times, and isn't it true, Ryan, that a lot of times we get people that have been given no hope, that say there's nothing more we can do for you? And we see that a lot, don't we?
Yep, and especially massage therapists tend to get those people after they've gone through all the other professionals. I mean, just because they typically pay out of their own pocket, so it's like the last option.
That's right. Yeah. You know, we'll spend $1,200 to $1,400 a year on our health insurance when it doesn't cover anything that generally in the soft tissue department.
Yep.
And it's always exciting to meet people that are willing to spend their hard-earned money on some type of soft tissue manipulation. Yep. And a lot of times these people find with a good practitioner that they get some pretty amazing results. Yep. That brings up another point, that there was another lady in that same chapter who had low back pain, and now she'd had this pain I don't know how many years, but it was in a very acute state at that point, but it was also chronic pain, so she'd had it for a number of years. And I asked her if I could use the pressure that I needed to use to get her out of low back pain in 5 minutes, and she agreed. And we had 69 witnesses to confirm that agreement. And so when we got her in the chair, I started pressing, and she was like, ow, ow, oh my God, that's so painful. She goes, oh, I'm sweating. And I said, well, we've only been 30 seconds. And she's like, oh my God, I don't think I can handle this. So I lightened up a little bit, and we got her through 5 minutes of pretty intense pressure. Now, why do I use a lot of pressure? Well, time plus pressure equals result. So if I have a mile to go, I can run it or I can walk it. And so if I use greater pressure, I get a quicker result, and that's why I chose to use a lot of pressure, because we had a limited amount of time. In 5 minutes of, we'll say, no mercy pressure, which is a lot of pressure, she had maybe 5% of her back pain was left in her back. I said, can I do another 5 minutes? And she says, no way. So she walked away, and I said, well, let's give it 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure your back pain will be gone. And so we checked in with her in 10 minutes, and she said that her back has never felt better. Her pain was completely gone, and she thought she was going out dancing tonight. And I said, would you do this again? And she said, absolutely. And so that immediate emotional response, once a person gets off the table, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but her immediate emotional response was, no way. But then after she saw the result, 10 minutes later, she's like, I would do this again, simply because of the evidence of no pain whatsoever in her low back. And that was pretty exciting. Now, to jump ahead in time, not too long ago we were up in Tallahassee doing a presentation up there, and we had 2 people with low back pain, 1 person with knee pain, and 1 person with foot pain. And so it took me 30 minutes to get all 4 of those people out of pain completely. And what we did was we took one gentleman who had low back pain for 6 years, and it took us 10 minutes on his lumbar and sacral reflexes on his feet. It took us a sum total of 10 minutes and 10 seconds to get him completely out of pain in his low back, and he thought that was pretty cool. We didn't know how long that was going to last, but it could last anywhere from 2 days to a number of weeks to a number of months. There was another woman who had had back pain for a number of years, and it actually took us 5 minutes and about 2 seconds to get her out of back pain completely, just by working again on the lumbar and sacral reflexes on her feet. There was another young lady who had knee pain. It was on her right knee, and it was basically right around her kneecap and below. I held her middle finger on the distal joint space for 2 minutes on the anterior posterior, 2 minutes on the medial and lateral aspect, and in 4 minutes total time, her knee pain was completely gone. And the lady with foot pain, she had foot pain, lateral ankle pain, seemed like a plantar fascial type of pain, but it took us about 10 minutes to get rid of her foot pain. She had about 6 spontaneous alignments in the foot, bones moving, and a little bit of reflex congestion, which in 10 minutes her pain was completely gone as well. And so all of these case studies were simply through the science of reflexology. And what I've seen over the years is that through that science of reflexology, as we perfect it, we learn what sections of the feet to work, we can make monumental changes and improvements in just a very few minutes. Generally in 5 to 20 minutes we'll see a significant effect and result within the body.
And what can we see from you in the future then? Okay,
in the future, I do have a number of classes lined up this year. I have joined in with the AMTA as an actual, we'll say a presenter. So I'm hoping to get into more of the AMTA this year. I'm hoping to see if I'll be qualifying for the annual AMT annual convention this year. I'm hoping that maybe they'll see value in what I do, that maybe I'll be able to qualify for that. I do have a number of chapters that I'm working with the FSMTA this year to get my name out there. I do have a number of courses. I was just approached by a woman today who would like to get me up at the Maryland AMTA next spring. So I'm continuing to ever get my name out there to speak about reflexology, orthoflexology, to help people see the value and the principles of manual medicine as I present them.
Yep, great. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you then?
The best way for anyone to get a hold of me would be through the website, which is www.orthoflexology.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yep.
Pleasure to see you again this year.
Thanks, everyone.